Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fantasy Football Fix YouTube channel. My name's FPL Phillips or Eddie, and today I'm bringing you my favourite wildcard draft for Game Week 4. Now there's a hell of a lot of wildcards being activated at the moment with loads of new players coming in, the likes of Ronaldo that we really want to get into our teams, and so I thought I'd bring you the best team I could put together, and this is also kind of a template, so there are a few players you can change out and a few options that you can go with either way at different price points, so I'll address those as we find them in the video.
Let me in.
And without further ado, let's jump into it. And in goal, it's going to be Jose Sarr of Wolverhampton Wanderers. Sarr ranks 4th amongst goalkeepers in the game for expected clean sheets, and he's the 4th lowest for expected goals against. Bear in mind, this is all despite facing some very, very tough fixtures in Leicester, Tottenham, and also Man United within the first 3 game weeks of the season. He faces Watford, Brentford, Southampton and Newcastle in the next 4 game weeks, which are actually really fantastic fixtures. As we know, Wolves are one of the most popular teams to be jumping on right now due to their fixture swing. He comes in joint 3rd amongst projected points for keepers over the next 5 game weeks, so 4 to 9, just behind Lloris and Ederson, who are both, of course, much more expensive. But moving into the defence, in comes the back 3, and that is, of course, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Semedo and Duffy, as you can see on screen, with Livramento and Ayling making up the back 5. Now, Alexander-Arnold, for me, is almost certainly a must-have. He's 1st amongst defenders for projected points across the next 5 game weeks with 28.2. He's quite a way ahead of 2nd place with Diaz at 25.9. However, if you want to go for a different option other than Trent, I'd probably recommend going for Diaz. He's a nailed-on Man City defender. He's been having a good threat in the box as well, and he's also, of course, a clean sheet machine. Alexander-Arnold has the highest expected assists amongst defenders and the 2nd highest if you count that per 90 minutes, just behind Reece James, who is, of course, suspended for the upcoming game week. Reece James, however, does look ideal for those going with a Game Week 7 wildcard, as he'll be back fit. Chelsea's fixtures have a fantastic swing, and also Jules Koundé isn't joining the Blues anymore, so there's no competition for that right centre-back spot that could push Azpilicueta out to the right wing-back. Alexander-Arnold also has the most attempted assists out of any defender with 15, and he's topping a lot of the statistics charts for defenders at the back, as you'd expect for 7.5. Again, the fantastic fixtures of Wolves play into going with the Wolves double up at the back, as Semedo at 4.9 finds his way in as the 2nd defender spot. It was a tough call with Kieran Tierney also proving a pretty good option. However, if you put both their heat maps up now, they're both absolutely fantastic, and it was very hard to split the two. So if you don't fancy going with a Wolves double up, Tierney could be the one for me, as his statistics do look fantastic. Tierney is 2nd in attempted assists in terms of defenders, 5.0 or below, but it's Matt Ritchie that's actually topping the chart, and we don't want to be going anywhere near him, especially with Manchester United up next.
No, I'm not having this. I'm not having this. No.
And moving on, we're going to cover all the 3 defenders that we've got left in one kind of section, and for rotation, I really can't see a better pairing than Duffy and Ayling for the price of 8.6. When you add Livramento into the mix as well, there are a few games he could start as that 3rd defender, and we could use Fix's rotation planner to see just how good these fixtures are. Both Livramento and Duffy seem to have established themselves in the starting 11 for the respective teams, with Livramento showing that he's going to start right back, with Kyle Walker-Peters taking up the left-hand side as he returns. Duffy, of course, could lose out his place at some point, but for the foreseeable future, he's a fantastic option at only 4.1. And we can show just how great these options are by the statistics if we look at the defender bracket priced 4.5 or below. And in that bracket, Luke Ayling comes in as 2nd for passes in the final 3rd amongst those defenders. Livramento himself comes in 2nd in terms of expected assists, just behind Lowton of Burnley. It's Shane Duffy, the Irishman, who's had the most shots out of any defender in the game, actually. But when you consider the price bracket that I said, actually in 2nd place is 3 shots, and that is Luke Ayling, who's managed to bag himself 3. So 3 fantastic budget options there and get you some great fixtures, and it's allowed us to go with a pretty premium front 7, also 2 other solid defenders, and a 5.0 keeper. Another thing to mention with Ayling is that I did consider Melier in goal. He's very similar price to Jose Sarr.
You're a donut. You're so stupid.
However, Leeds haven't been too convincing this year for me, whereas Wolves are a lot more solid at the back. So if I was going to go with a double up, you could go with the Wolves one or you could go with the Leeds one. But yeah, bear in mind, either way, that is a double up, and it's kind of played a bit into why I went with Sarr over Melier. Moving into the midfield, however, it's Mohamed Salah, of course, who takes up the 1st spot, with the most shots and shots on target amongst midfielders, and 3rd in terms of XG behind 2 other midfielders you'll be seeing shortly just alongside him. In terms of expected FPL points, he's sat at 23.97 over the next 5 game weeks, which again is way ahead of 2nd place, which is 18.6, and that again is one of the midfielders you'll see on screen right now in this team also. None of Mohamed Salah needed selling to you anymore, but furthermore, he's got the most attempted assists amongst midfielders with 9. Only Raul Jimenez amongst players in the entire game has managed to top the Egyptians' total with 10 himself. And as you can see next, Ferran Torres solidifies his place in this wildcard draft as Manchester City failed to bring in a number 9 this transfer window. Torres is the only player we've seen so far start at that number 9 spot for City, and although we know players like Jesus, KDB, Sterling, Mahrez even, have been established and can play at that number 9 spot, he's been getting a lot of praise from Pep Guardiola, and I see this for a positive sign, especially as Jesus is asked to play out on the right wing, and that's where he's been deployed this season. So as long as he can keep this place in the Manchester City team, and even if there's a little bit of rotation, he still seems fantastic value at 7.1 million. And another player who you may have said a few days ago would be perhaps quite a bit of a rotation risk is Diogo Jota, and of course many people would have been looking to get him out as Firmino returns to the starting 11. The Brazilian left the pitch at half-time in Liverpool's last game with a new muscle injury, and given what I've heard from the scans, the first set of scans didn't look too good. By the time you're watching this video, you may know more about the second set of scans, and so we may know more how long Firmino's going to be out for, and that of course is quite a big factor in whether Jota keeps his place in this wildcard team. But going on the basis that Firmino will be out for at least a couple of weeks or maybe even a couple of months, Diogo Jota scores himself 27.4 projected points over the next 5 game weeks, which is 4th amongst midfielders, and he's actually behind Salah, Mane and Bruno Fernandes in that department, so they're all premium midfielders, whereas Diogo Jota can hardly be considered in that price range. And one of those goals, as we know, was from a header, so he's been looking a threat in the air recently, which is a positive sign, especially when Trent and Robertson, as the fullbacks, had the most attempted assists out of any defenders, so first and second in Game Week 3, which is fantastic, and as we know, Liverpool fullbacks are always key to their goals, and Diogo Jota being in the box, he looks more of the aerial threat that Mane was providing last year at times, and so I could definitely see him getting a few more goals from crosses. And finally, we're going through the pick now, which is going to be that kind of 6.0 to 6.2 midfielder spot. And I've currently sat Benrahma in there, but it was between Benrahma, Ismaila Sarr and Adama Traore. Now, each of them have their own pros and cons, and it was very hard to consider. Ismaila Sarr's the one who tops the projected points total out of all of them in that price bracket, with the midfielders 6.5 and under. He tops the projected points for the next 5 game weeks. Now, all of them have their pros and cons, and it was very hard to decide between the 3 of them. Ismaila Sarr's the one who tops the projected points total, interestingly, over the next 5 game weeks amongst midfielders priced 6.5 and under. However, for the same price bracket, it's Adama Traore who tops the highest in expected goals, and amongst midfielders at all prices, he actually is second behind Ferran Torres, who you see in this team as well. Again, for that same price bracket, he's also had the most touches in the opposition box with 27, a whole 9 ahead of second place, which is Ismaila Sarr with 18. But it's Benrahma who tops the expected FPL points total so far with 18.55, just ahead of Traore in second. It's almost too hard to separate the 3, but with Benrahma now having Europa League and also Vlasic coming in to West Ham, perhaps that could push Benrahma out to other positions so he could face a bit more rotation. It's hard to say that with his performances being so strong this season so far, but not many things are going in his favour, especially with Sarr and Traore's fixture swings happening and them having some really good games up next. Price is also a thing to consider here, as this team is done on my actual squad value. However, some of you may be kind of 0.1 or 0.2 lower than mine at the moment. I thought mine would represent the average, but if you are obviously going for Traore or Sarr, maybe the only option you have. And finally, moving into the attack, first up it's Ronaldo, and I'm not going to say anything other than it's Ronaldo.
Anyway, last week...
Moving on, and it's Antonio's at the second highest expected points total amongst forwards over the next 5 game weeks with 31.0, behind first place with 41.9, so he's a whole 10 points behind the man in first place. I bet you can't guess who that is. He's also been the highest in expected goals and also in expected assists amongst forwards this season so far. Antonio's also had the most shots out of any forward in the game, and he's joint with shots on target for the man you can also see to the right of him on screen now. Calvert-Lewin comes in third amongst projected points for the projected points over the next 5 game weeks, behind the other 2 strikers you can see in this team. And using Fantasy Football Fix's fixture analyzer tool, we can see that Everton actually come out the strongest for attacking fixtures over the next couple of game weeks. Obviously, there were a few minor doubts over Calvert-Lewin's fitness, as he withdrew from the England squad with a new muscle injury. This is not to be confused with the toe injury that made him a doubt for the first couple of games of the season, and it's actually a new injury, so best to keep your eyes peeled on that, the same with Firmino's injury affecting Diogo Jota. The other players in this team feature a 4.0 bench warmer keeper. Best to probably just go with the one who looks the least likely to drop in price. Steele at the moment is just what I've got in there, but not many of them do look likely to drop. And then, of course, we've got a 4.5 midfielder, and I've gone with Sissoko, who made the move to Watford late in the transfer window from Tottenham Hotspur, which I didn't even see happening until he played his first game for Watford. I didn't even know it had happened. Shows how much I know about football. Now, a lot of people have been transferring in Allen as that 4.5 midfielder, and he's actually got the most attempted assists out of that bracket for midfielders, with 5 so far this year. However, if you look at actually attempted assists per 90, Sissoko is topping the chart so far. Obviously, a very small sample size with Sissoko only playing 70-odd minutes, but he does look promising, and I think I'd go with him out of the 4.5s. So that's going to wrap it up for this wildcard draft. I really hope you have enjoyed the video. If there are any changes you thought you'd make, or if you have a particular opinion on some of the dilemmas we've been looking at, you know, for example, Semedo, Tierney, the 6.0 midfielder, who would you go for there? Even the 4.5 midfielder as well. Let me know your opinions down in the comments. I'm really interested to see all those, and I'll try and reply to every single one of you. Of course, if you're new around here, do remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and turn on notification bells, as of course the price change series will be restarting as the daily one as we come to the end of the international break. But let us also know in the comments which of these videos you've been enjoying the most out of the new videos that have come over to you during the international break. There's been some fantastic new content being released, and we want to know and get your guys' opinions so we can do that and take it on board for the future when we're creating new videos. As always, to access all the tools I use to put together this team, you can use the links in the description, head over to the Fantasy Football Fix website, or download the free app. Other than that, it's been a pleasure to bring this video to you guys. I hope you have enjoyed it once again, and I'll catch you later. Goodbye.